Okay, just going to recap this last week's trades. I'm going to do it slightly differently this time. Last week I went quite in depth and, it was good. But this week I'm actually going to try to do the opposite a little bit. Um, Try to generalize a little bit more, be a little bit more vague, just because this week I kind of had the opposite issue to last week, where last week I said I was just kind of executing, not really, not really thinking too much, and I wanted to make sure to consolidate what I'd learned at the end of the week. Now this week, I took 3 trades, wasn't too bad, but I found I was really like overanalyzing everything, and I think it's important to recognize when you're doing that and to take a step back. It's human nature to try and turn everything into a science. And when you're trying to force certainty and objectivity onto something that is completely uncertain, completely fluid, you're destined to end up performing worse. Your execution is going to be taking a hit because you're looking for certainty within something that has no certainty. And you're also going to be misanalyzing everything because you're assuming that there is this rigid objective answer to something that does not have that answer. And therefore, you're going to be getting the wrong answer if you assume something objective, as opposed to just accepting that you don't know. Like you really don't know. You just need to work off of generalizations that, general principles that you generally know are true most of the time, and then just kind of let your intuition do the work. The second that you start being overly objective is the second you lose execution, in my opinion, and honestly lose understanding, because you chase this delusional state of absolute understanding, and you actually stray further from the truth in that pursuit. Um, Truth being that you don't really know what the fuck is going on. So yeah, gonna try to be more general with this recap. As I said, only took 3 trades. This was the most recent one. I'll just go in reverse chronological order. So this general trade idea I'd classify as low time frame misalignment into middle time frame continuation, as in the low time frame breaks against itself. You could say it's overextended relative to how it's moving, right? Overextended to the downside, misaligned. But middle time frame overall structure is bullish, so you're just leveraging the overall middle time frame structure / direction, using the middle time frame and a general area to increase the probability of a reaction occurring, and using the fact that we're overextended relative to how we've been moving on the low time frame, and the fact that we have this imbalance here to fill as confluence to enter. So yeah, that's really all this was. I already recapped this one, but this was just really stacking relativity across different time frames. We were bottom of this low time frame range. We were bottom of this middle time frame. You could call it a bearish trending range, or just a range, honestly, right? We're kind of respecting lows the last hour and a half or so. And we were also near this low within this external trend, which I would classify as the middle time frame. And if you zoom out even further, we're at an area within the high time frame where you would just expect us to continue bullish. High time frame being here, this trend. Boom, pull back to 50%, just as we did here, and now looking to just continue how we've been moving. And we weren't at a point where you'd expect a high time frame pullback yet, so it's just looking for that to continue. Yeah, so that was pretty solid. If you wanted to zoom out even further, you could say, okay, well, we're at high time frame highs here, right? We're kind of at a squeeze point with an even higher time frame, and yeah, that's valid. once you get up here, that's something you'd be worrying about, right? I definitely wouldn't be entering buys anywhere in here, but we still had room to move while we were in here. So yeah, and I'm going to go over the entries after. So this is just kind of the structural analysis, and then we'll look at like tick behavior afterwards. I need to catch my breath. Okay, so this was the first trade of the week. I posted this one as well. So high middle time frame was objectively bearish here. Kind of considered this the high middle time frame. Middle time frame was kind of rangy, but low middle time frame was trending bullish. And I was just similar to the rest of the trades. I was just stacking relativities across different time frames and top wick expectancies, I guess you could say. Now, another key thing to note is that higher time frame wise, considered the HTF, we were at the bottom of what was essentially a range. We did have this massive shift to the downside, but we were super low within that. We were near lows, higher time frame wise, and we'd yet to fill this large imbalance. And even if this were to continue, we had a weekly level right here. We had this massive imbalance, and we'd already swept those lows, began rotating to the upside. So it was kind of playing off of the expectancy of a top wick being created, along with the higher time frame relativity, the fact that we have this massive imbalance here, and of course I was waiting for that low time frame overextension against our kind of middle time frame direction, right? Middle time frame was kind of rotating to the upside here, wanted an overextension against that, and then entered in here. So yeah, that's the structural breakdown. Probably not very beneficial for anyone except for myself. So sorry. As for the entries themselves, this was the Sunday entry. It was kind of lower volume, so was looking for like a proper tick shift as opposed to entering off of like a volume shift alone. I was waiting for some structure to generate, and given we opened for the hour, got really, really strong, disproportionate bearish volume, I was waiting for that 5-minute candle. That's just a rule I've implemented the last couple of weeks. But yeah, we clearly get a nice tick T3 here, and then the 5-minute candle opened somewhere in here. I believe it was like right here, immediately drove bearish, and then we got a really, really nice disproportionate reaction off the little low time frame retest after bottom wicking for the 5-minute within this overall tick T3, which was at the bottom of our low time frame structure with plenty of room to move, which was at the bottom of our low middle / middle time frame structure with plenty of room to move, which was working its way back up from the bottom of a high time frame range with a large imbalance above us. And what am I missing? Oh yeah, and the top wick expectancies. Yeah, that's this trade summarized from top to bottom, or I guess from bottom to top. Let's see the entry for. So this is the entry that will look slightly different. This is more off of just the tick volume shift because I was working within a low time frame range here. I was just looking for a continuation of that low time frame range. Wasn't presuming the break of it or anything like that. So this is the entry that will look slightly different. We were within a low time frame range. You can't see all of it here, but we opened for the hour, drove bearish to the bottom of that range, got a really nice buy response there, and then I was looking at the strength of this sell response. The buy response mogged it. I was still waiting though. Once again, weaker selling response, and then the second we began kind of ripping out of here really quickly, I entered. So yeah, this was just straight up comparing the bullish and the bearish pushes on the tick chart and stacking that with the fact that we were at the bottom of a low time frame range, which was at the bottom of a middle time frame range, which was at an area where you would expect a bullish high middle time frame trend to continue, which was within an area within the high time frame trend where you would still expect price to naturally continue. All right, this is the last one. Oh yeah, so this will look super similar to the initial entry I took because it was similar volume. So yeah, I was waiting for a proper tick shift here. Actually, let's run through this. So 30-minute opened, immediately drove bearish, but the reaction was pretty weak, and I was waiting for structure to generate, of course, because we're lower volume. Shift to the upside here, and then the 5-minute candle was about to open, so I waited for it, was hoping we were going to wick down and get the same entry as Sunday night. Began pushing really bearish, didn't like the initial reaction. Like you can kind of see in here, it's pretty mixed, not very decisive, so simply just kept waiting. And then, yeah, at about 9:38 p.m., we come down here, retest the low time frame extremity, and then this reaction right here looked really, really strong, really decisive. Just kind of just mogging the bearish volume. So yeah, entered kind of right as I saw these. Of course, this trade, very similar, was stacking the tick T3 at the bottom of low time frame structure with room to move. Wait, do I not have my, okay, I do have my screenshots. So yeah, within a overextended low time frame. Of course, we have overall middle time frame direction here. Just kind of expecting this move to be filled and using the overall direction to increase the probability of price pulling back as well. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Those are the trades for the week. Yeah, that's it.